All right. What's up, everybody? It is Monday morning. You have Analytics Capper as well as the one and only Dead Press Picks. Before we get in today's show, I do want to, give a shout out to one of our good friends here on Twitter, his friends, his family. But he goes by the name One Arm Will. Yeah, he unfortunately passed over the weekend. He's way too young to even like think about or experience things like that. So we do want to give a shout out to his family. One thing I like to say, and then I'll move on to you, Dead. But we're in a few chats with him, right? And he's kind of been like blessing our lives the last couple of years in these Twitter chats, and it really gave me personal perspective because when you're having a bad day, when it came down to bets or a bunch of trolls are hating you or spreading lies about you, and this guy is like fighting for his life. He's dealing with cancer. It kind of put things in perspective. So he definitely helped me out from a distance. So I want to give all the love and appreciation up to heaven for him watching down on us. I am sporting his shirt today. It says "Not dead yet," and he isn't dead, right? He could be gone here, on earth, but he's definitely with us forever, and he's definitely with us in heaven. Dead. Anything you want to say?
Yeah, no, you hit on a lot of it, AC. But I was like very fortunate to get to know him a little bit, DMing. But like you said, I mean, far too young. But yes, he's in a better place. No more suffering for him watching down on us now. But I just want to offer my thoughts and prayers to all his loved ones, and he'll never be forgotten. Made a great impact on a lot of people. Made a great impact on us, and we never even met him in real life, just through Twitter. So obviously, just a special soul, and rest in peace to Will, and thoughts and prayers for all of his loved ones as well.
For sure. And he just had so much joy when we were
Yeah,
talking to him. Like,
right.
we're stressing about, Celtics, or we're stressing about, Dallas Cowboys. And then he's just having
Yeah.
so much joy being able to talk to us, experience
Hmm.
sports betting with us. Like, it just gave us, a
The
newfound
perspective.
energy. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. So, okay, let's go ahead and dive into this weekend slate of
Same.
games. I know the weekend is dominated by football, college and professional. But before we get into Saturday and Sunday's NBA action, Dad, if you could just reset the room and give a shout out to Seven Stacks real quick.
Yeah, of course. So yeah, guys, this episode, as all, are sponsored by our friends at Seven Stack Sportsbook. Make sure that you guys get set up with them via the DM. Follow them on Twitter at Seven Stack Sports. Going to be doing another big odds boost, guys, this week. We also will be announcing that $600 giveaway sometime tonight before Monday Night Football. So we had talked with Stack. So that's going to be announced. Make sure you guys still get that. All you have to do is subscribe to our YouTube channel to get an opportunity for that. But make sure that you guys get set up with them. The best book on Twitter. And we appreciate them for sponsoring us with today's episode and all episodes.
All right, let's get into Saturday night. So me personally, for my VIP, I only sent 2 NBA plays throughout the weekend. Fortunately, they both hit 1-0 on Saturday and 1-0 on Sunday. The first game I wanted to touch on is against your beloved 76ers. The Pacers won 118-113. We were on the Pacers, but that ended up being a really good game. Like, how are the Sixers still in these games without Joel Embiid?
They're just a tough team, AC. I mean, I think that we know that obviously the Embiid absence, but also as much as I like to hate on him, the Ben Simmons absence, and it hasn't been felt in a lot of aspects yet. I mean, they've been able to still defend well, and they compete night in and night out. That Pacers game, they were getting blown out in that first half, and they come back and make it a game. But I mean, it shows that they have some dogs on this team. Tyrese Maxey being one of them. Andre Drummond kind of showing that he can be a starter and should be a starter still on a lot of teams. So
Only 28 years old.
and somehow he's 28. So yeah, I mean, this is a team that I'm extremely encouraged by, playing obviously without Embiid, but also a lot of games without Tobias Harris. Matisse Thybulle has been out as well, who is without Simmons, our best defender. So very encouraged early in the year. I still think we'll see a move be made with Ben sometime before the All-Star break. It'll be a little dragged out, but I think they'll get better than what they currently have on the floor. So very encouraged. That Pacers game, though, they did sneak in a cover. Indiana did, but it was a competitive game late, although Indiana was rolling early on.
All right, a couple other games here on Saturday. We had the Heat Jazz, two really good teams. The Heat right now are sitting at 8-5, the Jazz as well as 8-5, but Heat got the win on the road. I lean the Heat here. I was just too scared to fade the Jazz because the Jazz are an elite regular season team. But any analysis or reaction to this, Dad?
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned how good Utah is during the year. They're not a team I typically fade. Just because of that. That game, another one that got tight late, right? The Jazz actually outscored Miami by 20 in that fourth quarter, but Miami pulled it off. I'm really high on this Heat team. I think when fully healthy, they're the best in the East. I firmly do believe that. I think the
Wow.
experience that they bring, because they have a lot of championship guys on that roster. They brought in PJ Tucker, obviously, bring in Kyle Lowry. These are NBA champion type of guys. And you're already bringing them into a winning system, right? With Eric Spoelstra, who's been able to win, multiple championships. And then you have guys surrounding them, young guys who are just gritty. I like the way Bam plays. We know Butler's a dog. He's going to give it what he has night in and night out. And then you surround them with other guys who can shoot, Duncan Robinson, Tyler Hero. This is a tough team, in my opinion. They're just going to be a tough out, when the time comes. So
Sure.
a really impressive win for them because, now they had Jimmy a little banged up. He sustained an injury. This is just they're a good team. They're a tough team to fade. Utah, like you said, they're the infamous great regular season. When the playoffs come, they just don't answer the call. But two great regular season teams, and it was a good win for the Heat.
Yeah, I second your thoughts on Miami Heat. I think they're built perfectly for the playoffs. I think Coach Spo is super underrated as a head coach because he can play all different or coach all different types of styles, offensively and defensively. So I like that pick. This is a surprise team here. It wasn't a surprise result. They took care of Orlando 104-92, but the Wizards right now are sitting at 9-3,
Top of
atop
the
the
East.
East.
Yep.
How do you feel about Spencer Dinwiddie, Bradley Beal? Kyle Kuzma had a great game for you, I think, a few games ago.
Yeah, he
The
saved.
Wizards are rolling.
The thing that's interesting with the Westbrook move is when it happened, I was in the mindset that it was a better move for Washington because they're bringing in a lot of championship experience. Like I just talked about with the Heat. Kuzma, he's won. Montrezl Harrell's coming over from, always competitive teams. He's another guy who I think can be good. KCP's a guy, he has won before. So you're bringing in that championship DNA, which obviously is making an impact. I thought they made a good move moving on from Scotty Brooks, giving Wes Unseld Jr. a chance to coach the team. Seems like so far so good. We know what Beal can do, but the thing is Beal needed a team who could play defense, right? The Wizards that's the biggest thing they've improved on. Now, when you watch the Wizards, they actually play defense. They compete on the defensive end.
And Rui hasn't even come back yet.
Rui hasn't even touched the floor.
Yeah.
That's another guy. And Davis Bertans has been out, right, for them a lot. So you're getting back really good players. Rui's a really good two-way guy. That's a good point that you mentioned. Do I think they're the best team in the East? By no means, but I think they'll compete. And I think they could be a top 5 seed come the end of the season.
Okay, I like that. One last game here on Saturday night. Thank goodness I didn't play this, but it was Boston, Cleveland. Boston was on the road, dominated the entire game, and an infamous Boston fourth quarter. They lost 29-15 in that fourth quarter to lose the game by 2 points. Cleveland right now are rolling at 9-5. What are your thoughts on Boston? I know there were, some talks about Jaylen Brown for Ben Simmons. I don't think that's happening. I think that was just, just fake news there. But Boston needs to do something.
And I don't know what it is because, the Brad Stevens move was weird to me, right? That he moves coach to jam whatever. That wasn't something I really understood. But they're just not like as competitive. It seemed like a few years ago with that young come up of Tatum and Brown, and they had the guys. Now, to me, they're just like an average team. I think they are what they are, to be honest. I think they have 2 stars that it's just not working, so far this season. We know Brown's been out a little bit. Dennis Schroeder played really well in this game, but I think the bigger takeaway is what's up with the Cavs. Like, how are they 9-5? We mentioned they lost Colin Sexton, who is still their best player. They haven't had Kevin Love, who's an experienced guy coming off the bench, give them really good minutes. They didn't have Isaac Okoro at the beginning of the season, so they've been doing it.
Or Markkanen's been out too.
Markkanen's been out as well. Yeah, so they've been doing it kind of stranded. Like they've had guys like Dean Wade start, not notable names, right? We saw how well Rubio's played. A guy we're both high on, Evan Mobley, he is unbelievably good for them.
Beast, yeah.
Do I think they'll make the playoffs? Maybe in this expanded 10-team format, they could get to a playoff game. I don't think they will, but it's a fun story right now.
But what a barn burner here. 91-89. Like this is before your time. This is like
It's the
1990s
old
basketball we're
NBA,
talking
yeah,
about.
right?
Yeah. 180 points. That's crazy. Okay, let's move on to Sunday. So I did say VIP went 1-0 on Saturday, 1-0 on Sunday. The first game was the Hawks. We were big on the Hawks. It was just a screamer. I think they were a -1 favorite against the Bucks at home. The Hawks were struggling. They were straight up struggling heading into this game, but they are an elite cover team when it comes to home teams in Atlanta or home games in Atlanta. They suck on the road, but they cover in Atlanta. So that's something, a trend that a lot of our listeners and viewers should pay attention to. But they manhandled the Bucks 120-100. Did you get action on this one, Dad?
I did not on this one. I backed the Hawks on who were they playing Friday night? I can't think who they were playing, but when I backed them there, they did not come up big for me at all. The Nuggets, yeah. I tried to back them there. Thought that I might at plus money get a win for the Hawks. Did not happen. This is a team, like you said, AC, that I want to talk about because their strength of schedule to this point in the season is by far the toughest in the NBA. So while, yes, they've been struggling, they're going to be a really good team to back, in my opinion, come these last couple of weeks in November, because I think the books and the public eye are going to kind of overlook them a bit. Looking at their record, look how they've played. They're still, in my opinion, a top 6 team in the East. I think they're very well coached. I'm a big Nate McMillan guy. I think Trae Young's still one of the best scorers in the game. I know the foul rules, bothered him a little bit, but This is going to be a good team, I think, AC, to start backing. And maybe the start of it was yesterday, as you mentioned, in a very impressive win versus the Bucks.
Yeah. All right. A couple games here on Sunday, and then we'll get into tonight's huge NBA slate for Monday night. All right. Warriors, Hornets. Warriors were rolling. They go into Charlotte, which is basically Stephen Curry's hometown. Like it's where he grew up. That's where his dad played basketball. So he had a ton of fans there in Charlotte. But the Hornets came out on top, 106-102 at the end. This is the epitome of Hornets basketball. They're like Mr. Jekyll, Dr. Hyde. You don't know which team you're getting tonight or that night. We got an elite team. They dominated defensively in the fourth quarter, only allowing the Warriors to score 14 points in that fourth on their way to a 106-102 win. What are your thoughts on the Hornets? I know that the Warriors are rolling and they'll be fine, especially when they get Clay and Wiseman back in the next few weeks. But do you think the Hornets are for real?
I do. I think the Hornets are, a very competitive team. They seem, though, like their defense, right, has struggled all year. You mentioned them locked down in that fourth quarter. Warriors, they were due for a loss, but the late game that the Hornets played defensively, I thought was really well, that fourth quarter, showing the ability that they can do that. Now, if they can continue to do that, we know offensively they have the firepower and Ball and Bridges and Hayward, but can they lock up and play defense like last night? That'll be the question going forward, but a big-time win for sure, knocking off the Warriors last night.
And they have pieces there that can play defense, right? Scary Terry is a dog when he wants to be on defense. Right. Miles Plumlee is a great defensive rebounder, so he can, finish that defense possession for you. And then Miles Bridges is, one of the most athletic guys in the NBA. He should be able to leverage that, those physical gifts to really defend his guy one-on-one. So hopefully we see that moving forward. Last game here of the night on Sunday. The Bulls going into Staples Center. They won 100-90. This actually was a pretty close game towards the end. They jumped out to an early lead in that first quarter. Then the Clips came back. You know how the Clips are. They always start out bad, and they came back, and then the Bulls kind of ended it strong at the end, 100-90. Any thoughts on this game?
Well, I shot you a message, I think, and a couple other guys. I said, Clippers live look like a good look. I did take a shot of them, when they got down to being a dog live. It just never felt like they could get in a flow. Like they were cutting into the Bulls lead. Honestly, wasn't a pretty game to watch. Neither team was great shooting the basketball, but I think the biggest thing, AC, to take away with the Bulls is that this team can just compete with anyone in the league night in and night out. They didn't have Vucevic last night, obviously, so they played small at times. They will be getting Kobe White back for their next game. Kind of forgot about him, to tell you the truth, a little bit with how good their start of the season was. But, remember, they lost Patrick Williams for the year, which was a massive loss. He was probably their best defender.
Yeah.
Vucevic will be back. He's just in a COVID protocol, but this is a scary team. I know you and I are both on their team total wins over and them to make the playoffs. So I have no issue with the Bulls continuing to fly high. Basketball's better, right? When Chicago's good.
Agreed. And this was their first game in a back-to-back. So they do play the Lakers tonight, I believe. So they're in Staples Center. So they're playing Lakers tonight. Before we get into tonight's game, Dead, if you could level set again, we're doing it with Seven Stack Sports. We do this every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. We go through, the previous night's slate, and then we get into the current slate. One thing that me and Dead want to point out is we're recording this show at 1:30 in the afternoon. These are leans, these are analysis, these are live, feedback and reactions that we're doing. These are not VIP plays. They can be, and they potentially will be, because usually if we have a read, it's going to stay a read. But there will be changes, from now until tip-off. Injuries, COVID related, things like that. So don't take these plays to heart. These are strong leans. We are very confident in these leans, but these are not VIP plays.
Yes, sir. Yeah, so just resetting the room here, guys. These episodes will all be sponsored by Seven Stack Sportsbook. Make sure you guys follow them at Seven Stack Sports on Twitter. Best Twitter book, 24/7, guys, customer service. Offer a ton of different ways to take your money in and out of the book. So make sure you guys hop on with them, doing a massive odds boost again this Wednesday that they'll do for new customers that we will get out to you. And remember, $600 giveaway, guys, that will be announced. Just have to subscribe to the YouTube channel, and we will give away $600 to someone lucky. So please, guys, make sure you take advantage. And again, we thank all of our friends over at Seven Stack Sports for sponsoring this and all of our episodes. So, AC, I think it's time to get into tonight's slate. What the people came for, obviously. We'll reset it a little bit, hype it back up right now, get everybody back on. We appreciate everybody who's been on the entire time on the live. But here we get to the part that you guys want for the picks tonight. We were just talking about this Cleveland team, AC, flying high a little bit against Boston, and then here we go again. The Celtics now coming to this game -3. I love the Celtics tonight. It's scary, but I love them. What do you think about this one?
Yeah, it's a rematch from Saturday night. The Celtics did lose by 2 because of a terrible fourth quarter there, but they're still favored tonight on the road. The line suggests the Celtics play here. Again, that total in that first game was 91-89, so only 180 points. The total tonight is set around 200 exactly. So they expect it to be a lot more high scoring, and they expect the Celtics to win by at least 3 points. I agree with Dead here. I do think Boston bounces back here. I think the loss of Colin Sexton is going to be felt in a rematch, because I think someone like the Celtics and their new coach Udoka could really Udoka can really adjust to that. So give me the Celtics tonight. That is a strong lean for me.
Yeah, I'm with you here. I think, you know me, I love fading these type of matchups. Yeah, the back-to-back regressional type of thing. The Cavs have to regress at some point. I think the absence of Sexton's going to show up in this spot like tonight. And I do. I think it's a really good bounce-back spot here for the Boston Celtics in tonight's game. All right, next game I want to get into. We were just talking about this team too, AC, the high-flying Wizards, the top team. Who would have thought, right? Yeah, second week in November that the top team is the Washington Wizards in the NBA in the Eastern Conference. The Pelicans, why again? This line
Terrible.
Only 4.5 though, AC. Yeah. Only 4.5. A little weird to me.
It's telling me really, really hard to take the Pelicans, man, but I can't do it. I just can't do it. I know there's a little bit of reaction news as well because Bradley Beal is out tonight. Again, there's no Rui still. There's no Thomas Bryant. There's no Davis Bertans. But the Pelicans are just terrible, man. Last week, I think we were both on them when they were like 5.5 point favorites at home. We took that low bait and we got screwed by it. I'm not going to do it again. There's no way I'm backing the Pelicans. This is a layoff for me.
Yeah, if there was ever a stay away game, this is it. I mean, I don't even think we need to get into why the Pelicans are god awful, right? But the line would, in my opinion, say Pelicans. No Beal. You mentioned still a couple other guys out, so I'm not touching this game. I would not go near this game tonight. Tough call to stay away, in my opinion. And it sounds like you're saying the same thing. AC Kings Pistons. Kings -4.5 here. Pistons, I've backed them twice, and I think they've scored like 70 points combined in those two games. I can't do it again. Who you backing here?
Sacramento coming into this game 5-8, 6-7 against the spread. Detroit, they're a poor team, right? They're only 3-9. Cade Cunningham is getting better, but surprisingly, they've covered the spread 5 out of their 12 games, so not too bad. They are coming off a win against the Raptors, 127-121 as an 8-point underdog, so an outright win there. This to me is a Kings play. Kings have not covered in 4 straight games. They've lost 4 straight games. The Pistons, like I said, covered and won outright as a dog. The spot here is the Kings. It's tough to back a team like them because they're so hot and cold when it comes to their 3-point shooting. But if they're hitting, if Hield, Fox, those guys are hitting, I don't think the Pistons can hang with them.
I'm with you here. I actually do love the Kings tonight. You mentioned they're a little bit on a slide, right? Not only against the spread, but just overall. I just think it comes down to, depth in this game. The Pistons they're not a deep team. They're not a really good team in any aspect. And, they had to deal with a little bit more injury news. Kelly Olynyk now out for an extended period of time. He's a guy who gives them some solid minutes off the bench. A guy off the Kings who just continues to perform, Harrison Barnes. We remember obviously how good he was right at his collegiate days in North Carolina, but ever since he came in the NBA, he's always been a good player, not great. He's been the Kings' best player this season, so keep an eye on him to see if he can continue this, scoring 21.5 points per game so far this season. I do like the Kings tonight facing just the god-awful Pistons. All right, this one is a matchup I really want to get into because the Pacers and the Knicks. We remember the Pacers beat the Knicks, right, in Indiana a couple weeks back. Now the Knicks, a little bit of a rematch here. They're -3.5 at home. The total currently sitting at 213. What's your thoughts on this one, AC?
So I would say this, Malcolm Brogdon, low-key, is one of my favorite players in the NBA. I feel like every time he's starting and every time he's playing over 30, 35 minutes, his team just covers. He just does that, has that influence on the game. With that being said, Indiana coming into the game 6-8, 8-6 against the spread. The Knicks kind of on a slide right now. They're 7-6 overall. They've lost their last 2 while the Pacers have won their previous 2. Pacers are coming off a game where they're shot 57.3% from the field. It's going to be very, very difficult to duplicate that. No NBA team can really shoot 57% 2 games in a row. And we're dealing with the Knicks here, who should, in theory, have a good defense with Coach Thibs, even though it's kind of taken a step back this season. This one's hard for me. The line is going towards the Knicks, but it's hard for me to fade, Brogdon, like I said. It's most likely a stay away from me. I'm interested to hear your thoughts, Dad.
I love the Knicks tonight, and for some reason, it's helped me a little bit more of late because you mentioned they're a little dry spell, but I faded the Knicks a lot this season. I started like 0-5. I think I'm back to like 3-5 on fading them.
There you go.
Making some progress. Again, the Pacers took care of them right at Indiana. Pretty good win. I think they won by like 12 or 13 points. Kind of rolled in that game. The Knicks have been struggling, but I think this is a really good, get me right type of spot tonight. So, I know Duarte is questionable also for the Pacers. That'll be a big call to see if he's in or out. But I think it's a good spot for the Knicks to kind of get back right to form at home tonight. Tough place to play. I will be all over the Knicks tonight at -3.5. Magic and the Hawks. We're just talking about it. So finally, the Hawks can take a breather. They have played by far the toughest schedule in the NBA. I know when they were playing the Nuggets that night, their opponents were, averaging teams that they've played all above, 500 with a 600 win percentage. So they've played really good teams so far this season. Now they get the Magic, so maybe they could take a breath tonight, but they're double-digit favorite at home Do you lay double digits on the Hawks right now, or is this another, stay away, or is it a magic play here?
This one's tough. Like I said earlier, when we were, going through some of the weekend games, the Hawks are elite when it comes to covering in Atlanta. Just some stats to back that up. They're 4-1 against the spread in the last 5 home games. When it comes to Orlando, they're actually 18-6 straight up against them in the last 24, 6-3 against the spread in the last 9. I think this is where the Hawks start streaking. I think you mentioned it. They had a really tough schedule early on. Now it's going to get a lot easier. They just walloped the Bucks yesterday, so they didn't really go all out. Like, their starters were still pretty rested. It was a 20-point win, so I don't think fatigue is an issue tonight. So I do like the Hawks. I'm just going to back the better team here. Minus 10.5. I know it's a lot of points, but they're just the way superior team for me, so it's a strong lean for me.
Yeah, I'm with you here. I like the Hawks first half, just getting a little bit of a shorter number here. I think they come out hot in this game and just kind of finally get a team that they could beat up on, and they do so here tonight. So I think it's a Hawks play all the way. Yes, it's a little scary sometimes laying a big number in either the first half or full game, but I think there's a reason for that tonight. Nuggets and Mavericks, your squad here, AC. Luka at home. Now, this is one that just keeps shooting up, and I kind of got mad there watching it because I wanted to lock this in earlier. I think this opened 3.5 or 4. We just keep seeing it go up. I believe Will Barton was just ruled out. Maybe that is contributed to that. Obviously, we know Michael Porter is still out. But what is your thoughts here on this game tonight? Because, oops, I'm losing you. Camera's all messed up. What's your thoughts on this game tonight? Because I'm interested to hear. You're a Mavericks guy, right? We know how they are against the spread. It keeps going up to 5.5. Short-handed Nuggets team on the road. What do you think about this one?
Yeah, so Denver 9-4. They've gone through a lot of injuries this season already, but being 9-4 is really impressive for them, including Jokic's crazy elbow against the Morris twins. Dallas 8-4, surprisingly low key, doing pretty well, but they're only 4-8 against the spread. They actually give up more points than scoring. They average 104.5 points on offense, but they give up over 106 points. They do have a minus, net differential there. But the Nuggets are flying high. Even without Jokic that one game, they still dominated that team. The Mavericks are playing better as of late, and they have covered 2 of their last 3 games. I think it's a Mavericks play, man. I know that the Mavericks don't cover. They're only 4-8 against the spread, but they have to cover at home sometime. I think this is a potential game. This is a big game from Dallas. If you look at their schedule so far, they've only beaten up on bad teams and they lose to good teams. I think this is a night where they can kind of flip that. This is the potential for Luka to put his name back on the MVP map. Give me the Mavericks tonight. I know it's a lot of points. It's against a really good Nuggets team, but without Porter, without Will Barton, I think that's a lot of points to give up.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in alignment with you here. Obviously, we know they beat up on Portland last night, short-handed Portland without Dame, but it's a back-to-back travel spot. So I think this is a really tough spot to back the Nuggets. I agree. I think the Mavs just blow them out here. The number is going to keep going up. I think now's a good time to lock it in at minus 5.5. All right, the NBA's worst team this season. I'm proud of that because I have their team total under. The Houston Rockets will battle against the Memphis Grizzlies. Memphis is another team I see a little bit of a slide here. Do they get back to it tonight?
They just need to keep playing Denver. Every time they play Denver, they somehow beat the Nuggets. But you're right. The Memphis Grizzlies are only 6-7. They have one of the young, exciting superstars in the league in Ja Morant. They're 7-6 against the spread. Houston, like you said, worst team in the league, 1-12. I don't think they're ever going to win again in this league. This is tough for me. I mean, it should be right. It should be a Grizzlies get right game, but I don't think they have the offense to cover 12 points. To me, that's a lot, and it is asking a lot for the worst team in the league to cover. But I think these are the moments, on the road, no one gives them a shot. These are the games they actually become competitive. So for me, I would lean the Rockets, but no official play for me.
This is a scary play here, but I'm going to go Grizzlies team total under 115 because of kind of what you mentioned. Their pace is not fast. Rockets play at an average pace. They don't play lightning quick, but they do get up a lot of threes and try and move. Again, trusting the Rockets defense is a fun no, but I don't think the Grizzlies have the firepower offensively. I know they have John Morant,
Exactly.
but if you look surrounding them, they don't play that quick, and they don't have a ton of great shooting. Desmond Bane is a guy who's really come on the scene and been a good shooter for them. But overall, I can't I can't back
best either. Like only Ja really is the one that is like athletically gifted. Everyone else there is kind of just normal.
They're just there. Yeah, I mean they're an odd roster makeup because it does work, but they've lost 4 of their last 5, and that one win was that miraculous comeback when they tore my heart out and covered against the T-Wolves. So they've really been struggling of late. I think it's a good spot to take their team total under until they kind of prove that they can get right offensively, but no shot in hell I'm laying 11.5 on them right now. All right, Miami against our favorite underdog, Oklahoma City Thunder here. Oklahoma City getting 9. Come on now. Do they not know we've been all over them?
Yeah, this is almost a blind OKC.
Yeah, I don't even care.
Yeah, OKC plus 9 and up. We're just gonna bet OKC. I just think, they have dogs. They went on like a 4-game winning streak. Let me see. Yeah, they went on a 4-game winning streak before losing to Brooklyn last night. Brooklyn last night kind of took it to them, and it was Kevin Durant's return to OKC. There was a lot, hoopla surrounding that. But this could be another bounce back for OKC. Not saying that they'll win. 9 points is a lot, but we do love them on those big spreads.
People are. I think this is interesting because again, I don't like backing teams on back-to-backs, but their starters were not taxed yesterday due to the blowout. So a lot of guys didn't. The only guy who played above 28 minutes in that game was SGA, but a lot of their starters, even SGA, he played 30, right? So he played a little bit under his average.
Yeah, 30 minutes for SGA is like a warm-up.
Right. Yeah, so I think, and they're young, right? They're going to be well rested enough. This is a spot again. We've liked them as dogs all season, and I'm just going to continue to back them as a dog. I like this Heat team, but it's another road game for the Heat, right? They were just out on the road against the Jazz, and we know they got that win. And right before that, they had that road game as well against the Clippers. So it's an extended road trip for them. Tough spot to, trust the team on the road getting 9. I'm back in the dog here. I'm with you here. I think we see OKC, and let's sprinkle that money line for some peanuts as well.
There you go. Nice.
Suns and T-Wolves. Don't even want to talk about T-Wolves, but they're only a 4-point dog tonight. What do you think?
Yeah, I know you're very, very distraught when it comes to Minnesota. That was a terrible beat. But it's a Minnesota play today. Again, talent-wise, especially if Ayton is not going to go tonight, talent-wise, Minnesota can hang with the teams. They are as talented as the Suns, in my opinion. It's really just putting everything together and Dad understands this firsthand, learning how to close out games. Hopefully they do that as the season goes on. They don't really have a closer. That's their issue. They have a lot of good one-on-one guys from D'Angelo, Cat, and I love the Ant-Man. But they just need like a solid veteran. Like if Harrison Barnes was on this team, I think that'd be great. They just need someone like that to kind of just keep them solid and grounded. But to me, this is a Timberwolves play. I don't know if I'm going to make an official play because it's hard to back the Minnesota Timberwolves because you can go a quarter where they, drop 45 and then the very next quarter they'll have 17 points. So it's hard.
I hate to do it because what they did to me this week, but I'm going to back them tonight because I think, especially no Ayton, I don't think they have somebody who can stop Cat. When he's right, their rim protection goes way down. It's a tough spot right on the road. I love the T-Wolves tonight. Scary play for me, but I think it's the right side. As you said, AC, this is a talented roster, right? When you look up and down, they have a lot of guys who can go on this team. And they have a lot of really good athletes on this team surrounding, Cat and Edwards and D'Lo. They have guys who are really good athletic players. I like the Wolves tonight. All right, AC, our last 2 games of the night, and I'll start with this one because I think it's interesting with the Raptors and the Blazers because I really like the Blazers here at -2. I want to get your thoughts on this one over under at 212.5.
Yeah, very short spread here at home. Most likely no Fred VanVleet tonight, which is huge for the Raptors. I think I mentioned this on a previous show, but their starters are averaging more minutes than any other starting lineup in the NBA. You have Fred VanVleet averaging almost 40 minutes a game, which is crazy. There is no Dame tonight, but the fact that they're favored is pretty telling for me for Portland. CJ McCollum had a terrible game last night. I expect him to bounce back tonight, so maybe look into McCollum props, whether it's points or points rebounds or points rebounds assists, maybe 3-point made, things like that. So I do expect McCollum to bounce back. I think this is going to be in the 205 to 215 range in terms of total points. So he's going to have a lot of opportunity. I do agree with you. It's a Blazers play, but I think I'm more confident on McCollum.
Yeah, I mean, the thing for me in this game is, like you mentioned, obviously, a couple of stars out, but the short line still supporting the Blazers is making me really love them in this spot. So I think I'm going to back the home squad here, AC, and ride it out with the Blazers. All right, our final play of the night. Again, this is a big slate. It took us a little bit of time here, but we appreciate everybody who has been on the live. We've had hundreds come in, out, stay on. So we appreciate everybody and the love that we're getting on this. Both teams here, AC, on a back-to-back. Bulls and Lakers. We saw what the Bulls did to the Clippers last night. Kind of dominated that game. Yes, it got a little close in the fourth, but they had control the whole time. Lakers on the flip side, that was one of my only picks on the NBA yesterday. They did cover that spread against the Spurs at home. Kind of weird line here, in my opinion, that the Lakers are dogs. They're like the ultimate you don't know who's going to play team, right? Like Anthony Davis is on the injury report every single day. So it's tough to say early, but if AD goes, I'm a little surprised here that, the Lakers be dogs.
Yeah, the Lakers are like the Patriots in the NFL. If you look at the injury report for the Patriots every week, it's like 50 people, right? And with the Lakers, is basically half their roster as well. As far as trends go, they are very, very similar in the last 5. They just came off a win, basically convincing win, covering. They've covered 3 of their last 5 games. For the season as a whole, Chicago is an elite cover team. They're 9-4 against spread, whereas the Lakers are only 5-9 against the spread. A lot of that was without LeBron James. He is out again today with another ab injury. I actually think my gut says the Lakers here. Chicago's been riding high. They've been covering like crazy, and they had a great win against the Clippers last night. I think the Lakers are going to start covering. I don't think they're ever going to get to 500 in terms of ATS record, but I think they're going to get close to it. And this is where, the regression towards the means happens tonight. So I do lean the Lakers here. It is kind of a scary line. They are, a very, very short underdog. But give me Lakers, especially like you said, if AD is playing. There is no Vucevic again for the Bulls.
Yeah, I mean, I think the road aspect of it, right? The Lakers are at home. I know they're both on a back-to-back, but every part of that aspect makes me like the Lakers here. A little bit of just like a weird line. So I'm going to have to kind of wait and see. Like we said, we're recording this at 2 o'clock on the East Coast. This game is 10:30 on the East Coast. So a lot of things will happen in between them. A lot of guys might get in, out, scratch. Lakers, like I said, they have a laundry list every time, you look at who's in and out for them. So we're going to probably, end up on the Lakers, but it's a game at the moment that I'm going to stay away from. AC, did we hit all the games? I think we did.
Yeah, we hit all the games, but let's give the people one more game. It's Monday night, so it's Monday Night Football. You don't have to tell us what your play is, what your lean is, what the total is, but the 49ers are playing the Rams in a big NFC West matchup tonight. How do you see the game playing out?
Well, see, this is one that's going to be the ultimate, like the entire world is on the Rams. I ran a poll like 2 hours ago, and it was like usually they're like 60, 55%. It was like 85% Rams. I think it's since then leveled out a bit. Don't have, anything to say about how public everybody knows that. But we were talking about this before we came on. I think I'm going to hop right in with the public. And me, I typically do not bet square in the NFL, nor do you. But this just looks like one that I can't, I was trying to get to a reason to, be contrarian back the Niners. Sometimes it's better to just, go with a better team. And, it's just a spot where I know it's a road game, but do you see any reason to back the Niners in this game?
Yeah, I mean, the Rams are vastly superior, both on offense and defense. They don't have a QB issue like the 49ers do. I know there's some injury news with, Robert Woods. So everyone's expecting OBJ to have a good game. I actually think Cam Akers may be the guy to look into when you're looking at props, right? Cooper Kupp's always going to get the target share. He's always going to get close to 100 yards, maybe a touchdown or two. But I think Cam Akers is going to get the majority of the targets that would have gone to Woods. I think OBJ is a little too early. He's only been on the team for like 3 days.
Yeah.
But the Rams are way better. I don't know if Aaron Donald is playing tonight. I think Jalen Ramsey is also questionable. But there's just not enough creativity with the 49ers offense to really, scare someone like the Rams. And quick shout out to Matthew Stafford right now. We're only about halfway through a season or just past halfway, but he has the highest QBR out of any starting quarterback in the league. So he is definitely playing well for them. And he's not the reason why, they're losing like how Jared Goff was with the Rams. So it's never going to be a QB issue when it comes to the Rams.
Yeah, and you mentioned the absence of Woods and that it's a little bit early, right, for OBJ to adapt to that playbook. So this could be a good prop game, AC, for Van Jefferson. They really like this kid, and he might kind of take on that role of Woods tonight, getting involved a lot more in the offense. So
did I say Van Jefferson or Cam Akers?
I think you said, is that, did you mean Van?
I meant Van Jefferson. Yeah,
Van,
my bad.
No. I mean, you made me think of it. So I mean, I'm gonna be on some Van props most likely as well.
Nice.
Gonna sprinkle. All right, first touchdown scorer, AC. Before we close, give me someone cool that we could throw some peanuts on.
Ooh.
Putting you on the spot here. I'm taking Van. I'm riding the Van Jefferson wave. I tried him a couple weeks ago. It didn't work. He's due.
I see a 1st and goal at the 1 foot line. Stafford's gonna put the ball over
Stafford.
Yeah, give me a Stafford first touchdown. He'd love doing that in Detroit.
The Stafford sneak. All right, boys. Yeah, so you're gonna get some value if you take Van or Stafford. But that sounds good. We appreciate everybody for hopping on. Again, guys, this episode, as all episodes, are sponsored by 7Stack Sportsbook. Follow them on Twitter at 7Stack Sports. Gonna have something really big for you guys on the episode Wednesday with a promotion from 7Stacks, big odds boost. So make sure y'all take advantage of that. And remember, AC, $600 giveaway that we will be announcing tonight. And I believe tonight before Monday Night Football, we will be doing that. But all you guys have to do is simply subscribe to the YouTube channel. We appreciate we've had thousands and thousands of views every episode from you guys on Twitter, but also we would love to get you guys over to the YouTube channel as well. And we do appreciate all of our viewing. AC, any closing words of wisdom?
No closing words of wisdom. Again, we just want to pay respects to our dear friend, Will. Thank you so much for everything, and thank you guys for joining today.